All right, welcome back to Frankenstein Week here in the month of October. We are on part 6 of 7. If you haven't seen the earlier parts, go back and check those out. Today we are talking about Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. This is the Frankenstein of my childhood. This was the film that I watched, that I got all my Frankenstein early ideas from. So this is exciting to go back and revisit, especially after seeing so many different versions and reading the book and things like that. And sadly, because there's so many other things going on in this movie, the Frankenstein aspect of it is not super accurate, or it's not a big part of the movie. Because we got Dracula, we got the Wolfman, obviously we got Abbott and Costello doing their thing, we get the Invisible Man at the end. There's a lot going on here. So I don't think this one is going to score very high, but this has got some nostalgia going on for me personally. But let's get into the numbers here. The Scientist. So Victor Frankenstein is long dead by the time this film happens. We don't even know if his first name was Victor or not. We don't know what his motives were, what his work environment was, if he had any infidelity going on. We don't know the status of his sanity. We're not quite sure his method of creating the body or animating it to life. All we really know is that he stitched dead bodies together. There is a card on the exhibit at the museum that Wilbur and Chick are delivering the crates to, that says that Frankenstein stitched the bodies back together. So that is going to get it 1 out of 10 points for the Scientist, just because he's not in the movie, so it's hard to get points there. In terms of the creature itself, this, I think, is the closest to entering at the quote-unquote correct time in the story. In the book, the creature first appears 16% of the way through the story. In this film, it's 26% into the story, 21 minutes out of 82 minutes. It's unclear why he was created. It's unclear what kind of brain he has. He is the green version from Universal, even though this is a black and white film. That version is well known to be green. We've got the electrodes on the neck, which are featured very prominently in this film, as Dracula uses those to wake him up. The first motion we see as Dracula wakes him up are the eyes. He doesn't attack early on, so it seems like he's pretty well in control of his actions, but he is serving Dracula. So later on at the castle, when Dracula is trying to perform the procedure, Frankenstein, the monster, is a little bit more aggressive, but he doesn't attack right away as soon as he's awakened. So it seems like he's got a little bit more control than most versions do, which is more accurate to the book. We've got some references to his fear of fire in the older films, but it doesn't explicitly say that or show that he's scared of it. It's just that that's how he dies, or how he evidently dies, is in a big fire. We've got him serving Dracula, which obviously is not in the It's just one character. I tried to, maybe I missed something, but at one point he picks up Sandra and throws her out the window. We don't see what happens to her, but we don't see her again the rest of the movie. So I'm calling that the one casualty, not nearly as many as in the book. We have no requests from him for a bride or anything else. And he seems to die at the end in a fire, although it kind of just stops showing him and then the movie ends. So it's not really clear. So for the creature, I'm giving this film 5.5 points out of 18. Then we get to the supporting cast, which again, this takes place far after the actual events of Frankenstein the monster's creation. So not a whole lot to go on here, but what we do know is that the story is being told. We get it on the exhibit card. That's not exactly how the story is told in the actual book, but the concept of this story being told and living on through other people. That's something, so I gave it half a point there. That's the only thing it got in that category. So half a point out of 11. Then when we get to the setting, we don't know where the Doctor did his work in this film. We're not sure how long the process took. But again, we do have the story being written, so that little concept is going to earn it another half a point. So in terms of accuracy to the book, this is, I think, going to be our lowest score at 7.5 points out of 42. Now, to be fair, they weren't adapting the book. They weren't adapting that story. They were taking that character and putting it in a new story. So I don't think that's a criticism. But if we're judging it based on accuracy to the book, it's not very close. But let's talk about some other things. We've got the iconography. We've got the general look and demeanor of the creature. We've got a creature that is dangerous and violent to humans. We've got the castle that this takes place in. So we're going to give it 3 points for the iconography. I could add in another point for having the scientist that brings the creature back to life, but we don't actually see that in the film. It's just mentioned and referenced, so I didn't give it a point for that. In terms of originality, this is a comedy, which most versions are not. We've got Frankenstein as a servant of Dracula. We've got Frankenstein as an opponent to the Wolfman. And we've got the story brought into what was then the modern day. Now it's pretty outdated, but at the time it was the modern day. So, total score, it's pretty low, but that's okay. We've got 7.5 for accuracy to the book. 7.5. We've got 3 for iconography, and we've got 4 for originality. So this is nearly the lowest in every category. It just beats out I, Frankenstein in iconography, but that's going to be a total score of 14.5, which is the lowest score so far. But that doesn't really mean much. This has a lot of nostalgia for me. This was great to rewatch as an adult. Man, I tell you, the Wolfman in that movie used to scare the crap out of me as a kid. I would look away whenever the transformation started. So that brought some memories back. Other notes that I had about this film, I wrote the Frankenstein of my childhood, which, by the way, if you're getting upset that I keep referring to the creature as Frankenstein, watch the first video in this series where I tell you why you're wrong. Watching this film, couple very quotable components were bringing back memories in my head. The scene where they're in the museum and Wilbur, played by Abbott, is seeing the creatures and seeing the things while Chick, played by Costello, is out getting the other box, and just the great delivery of Bud Abbott with the "Oh Chick, oh Chick," and then later on we see and man, I'm not doing it justice. I loved that when I was a kid. I thought it was so funny. It was so great to rewatch that again. And then of course later on we get the when I tell you when I saw what I saw when I saw it. So there's a couple different versions up there. When I tell you I saw something, then I saw what I saw when I saw it. But to me, the most, it's a bit of a tongue twister, but the most memorable one is at the end when they flood the castle. Frankenstein has apparently died in a fire, and Wilbur says to Chick, "The next time I tell you I saw something when I saw it, you believe me that I saw it." That's the thing that sticks in my head. Is you believe me that I saw it. And then, of course, we get the Invisible Man there at the end. So, great, fun trip down memory lane for me. Not the greatest adaptation. Not the most original storyline. But a good time by me anyways. So, those are my thoughts on Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. Let me know if you have any thoughts, but those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching, and have a good day. Hey everybody, Sam Tom here. Just wanted to let you know that I have 2 channels. If you're watching my music content, I also have a movie channel where I talk about movies and TV shows. If you're watching my movie content, I have a music channel where I do song covers, instrument demos, things like that. So feel free to check that out. Obviously, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that YouTube stuff. Thank you very much for watching and have a good day.